Before we start practicing some together, I'm going to teach you an acronym to remember all of the steps. So, you need to remember, does McDonald's serve real cheese? Each of these stand for a step in the process that you need to follow. So, does, the D stands for divide. McDonald's starts with an M. That stands for multiply. S stands for subtract, because they both start with an S. R stands for repeat. And cheese stands for check. So we will divide, multiply, subtract, repeat, and last we will check to see if our remainder is smaller than our divisor. This is the way that I like to write it on the side of my paper so that I can go through the steps and be able to make sure I'm on the right step or which step I do next. So I just think, does divide, McDonald's serve real cheese? And then I can write those steps out on the side of my paper. So let's try that with some problems. So we have 98 divided by 7. On your board, draw this division symbol with 7 on the outside, 98 on the inside, and if you need, write down your multiplication facts or look at your times tables. Then I'm going to write out my acronym. Remember, does McDonald's serve real cheese? Divide, multiply, subtract, repeat, and check. So let's go through our steps. First, we're going to divide. We're going to divide starting in our biggest place value. That's the tens place. So we would say, how many times can we divide 9 into 7 groups? Well, we could do that 1 time, because the closest we can get is 7. But that 1 is in the tens place, so we have to write it out as 10. Okay, we just did our division. Next, we're going to multiply. 10 times 7 is 70. Next, we're going to subtract, which would leave me over with 28. Then we are going to repeat all the way back to division. So now we have 28 that we're going to divide by 7. So we're going to see what's the closest we can get to 28 without going over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I see I can get exactly to 28. So that gave me a 4 when I divided. 4 times 7 is 28. So I just did my multiplication. Now I'm going to go into my subtraction. I'm left over with 0. So can I repeat back to division again? No, I can't, which means I get to go on to my last step of check. You check to see, is this number smaller than your divisor? Sure is. That means that we're done. And since I have no remainder to bring up, my answer will come from right here. We have our 10, which gives us a 1 in the tens place and a 4 in the ones place, giving us an answer of 14. Let's erase that, and let's try again with 93 divided by 5. So set up your division. Our 5 goes on the outside, our 93 goes on the inside, and if you need your 5 times tables, write those down. Then we're going to write down our steps. Does McDonald's serve real cheese? We know our first step is to divide, starting in our biggest place value. So that's our tens place. Then we're going to see what's the closest we can get to 9 without going over. Oh, that's 5. That means I only skip counted 1 time to get there. But remember that 1 is really in the tens place. Then I will multiply. 10 times 5 is 50. Next step is to subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. 9 minus 5 is 4. So we just did our subtraction, so now we are on repeat. So we're going to repeat back to division. So we know that we're in the ones place, but we have some left over. So let's see what's the closest we can get to 43 without going over. The closest that I can get is 40. I had to skip count by 8 to get there. That's my division. 8 times 5, that's my multiplication, is 40. Our next step is to subtract. 43 minus 40 is 3. Well, can we repeat and divide again? No, because the closest I would get is 0, and so I don't need to put another 0 in the ones place. The ones place is the last place I can get to. So that means we go on to our very last step. Check. Is your 3 smaller than 5? Sure is. So that's our remainder. Remember, we get our answer by looking at this number here and seeing what place values they're in. I have a 1 in the tens place and an 8 in the ones place, giving me an answer of 18 with a remainder of 3. Let's erase that and try another one together. We have 41 divided by 4. We're going to set that up by putting our 4 on the outside, our 41 on the inside, and if we need to, writing our multiplication facts. And rating our steps. Does McDonald's serve real cheese? Divide, multiply, subtract, repeat, check. So let's start in our first step. We're going to divide starting in the biggest place value, which is our tens place. What's the closest we can get to 4 without going over? Yeah, we could only skip count one time. Remember that 1 is in the tens place. Then we're going to multiply. 10 times 4 is 40. Next, we should subtract. 41 minus 40 is 1. Then we're going to repeat. Have we looked at the ones place yet? Nope, we haven't. So we're going to look at the ones place. I know the closest I can get to 1 would be 0, because 4 is too many. 0 times 4 is 0. Then we're going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. All right, have we already done the ones place? Sure did. That means we cannot repeat, so we are going to check. Is 1 smaller than 4? Yep, it is, so we did that correctly. Our 1 is our remainder. And we get our answer right here. We have a 1 in the tens place and a 0 in the ones place, giving us an answer of 10 with a remainder of 1. Erase that. Let's try one more together. We have 49 divided by 2. So let's set it up. 2 on the outside, 49 on the inside. And if you need, write out your times tables for 2's. Then we'll write out our steps. Does McDonald's serve real cheese? Divide, multiply, subtract, repeat, and check. All right, let's start in our first step. We're going to divide starting in our biggest place value, our tens place. What is the closest that we can get to 4 without going over? Well, skip counting 2 times is the closest we can get. But remember, it's in the tens place, so it's worth 20. Next, let's multiply. 20 times 2 is 40. Then we'll subtract. 49 minus 40 is 9. Then we're going to repeat back to division because we haven't done the ones place yet. What's the closest we can get to 9 without going over? Well, I see that's 8. I skip counted 4 times to get there. Let's multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. Then we'll subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Then we would repeat. Have we already done the ones place? Yeah, so we can't repeat anymore. So we're going to go on to our last step of check. Is 1 smaller than 2? Sure is. So that's our remainder. We get our answer by looking at our place values. I see there is a 2 in the tens place and a 4 in the ones place. That would give me 24 with a remainder of 1.